Hi everybody, welcome back, and we're going to continue here with the program. I'm going to go over the case study I created for Living on the Edge. So this is a company that makes three type of products, and we're making snowboards, surfboards, and hats. So looking at the first table here, I am looking at production volume here. So I have production volume and selling price. This is unit selling price, unit direct materials, and labor. And we have the labor hours that I'm using up. Direct labor hours per unit. So this can show me two things. First of all, what I'm trying to get to is the profit margin. So this is volume-based profit margin here. Now, first I want to calculate the overhead. Now, what is overhead? Overhead, in this case, is the combination of my three activities: design, marketing, and machine operation. Now that's different than materials and labor, right? Because this is direct labor and like actually putting the pieces together, and materials is just manufacturing materials. So overhead is like marketing, design, engineering, things like that. So total overhead is 1.5 million, and let's see here. I'm going to look at total number of hours, labor hours. So I'm just summing up these three here that are in orange, and I come up with 105. So I'm getting direct labor hour. So it's basically overheads costing $14.3 per hour. And now I'm simply allocating the overhead, which is 1.5 million, at $4.3 per labor hour. So let's see, we have snowboards are 25,000 hours, so I'm getting this 357,000. Surfboards are at 75,000 hours times 14.3, so we're getting the million. And hats are 5,000 hours, so it's a small amount. So that's how we got these numbers here. Now I'm moving on, and now look, I can see the sales price of each unit, right? I have sales price here. I'm going to highlight that as well. And so this is the sales price. Unit direct material and labor, that's just the number that was given. Now overhead per hour is coming from this orange on top over there. So you could see that overhead per unit is actually coming from the fact that we figured that out. We calculated how much overhead is per unit of each type of product. So I'm adding that in, and I could see the profit margin is simply sales minus the unit direct material and labor minus the overhead. So we're making money. Always good to be making money, right? So we're making money. Not only that, we have a nice good margin here. Very good margin. What's the most profitable one? Hats. All right. Hats are winning by a lot, actually. By a lot. And surfboards are not. So from this it looks like we should make more hats, less surfboards. Now, if we move on to activity-based costing, we have the budgeted cost: design, marketing, machine operation. So this is how much I have budgeted for each activity, and that's just how much each activity is costing. And this is how many hours of each were used up total. So by doing that, I can figure out, by just division purposes, I can figure out how much I'm using per hour. Okay? So then I just allocate surfboards. I'm looking at how much of each is the surfboard consuming, and I know what the rate is because it's just given to me by that department. So the rate ties in with that. Consumption activity is given, and total overhead we multiply to see what the total overhead is. So this is just a product of the two. Okay? So these are just all a product of the two. And then what I do is I look at the profit margin based on each activity and how much it's costing me in overhead precisely based on the activities this time. And I'm coming up with quite a different profit margin here. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here and continue on the next video.